Hi, welcome to Kids, Food, and Curse Words. I'm Stephanie Jeffrey, and I'm going to show you some simple recipes to keep your kitchen a little less chaotic and just a little simpler. So today we are going to be making a meatball and garlic naan bread meal. And it's really simple. All you really need is some ground beef, some garlic naan bread, which is some flatbread, and then a few other ingredients, which we'll get to. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to chop our garlic, and you're going to take your knife and you're just going to firmly press down to kind of smush the garlic, and then you're going to slice it sideways into small slices, and then just chop finely the other direction. So now that we have the garlic nicely finely chopped, we're going to put this into a prep dish. I have finely chopped about 6 cloves of garlic. Now, depending on how much your family loves garlic, you can always change that. Put that off to the side. Now we're off to the onion. You're going to need 1 onion for this recipe. Cut it sideways. Cut it one more time. And you're going to want to peel the outer layer off and toss it in the trash. Once it's peeled, you're going to want to slice the onion and chop it the other direction. Now that I'm all done with the onion, I'm going to set it aside and I'm going to get things all set up for the meatballs. So we're going to have 1/4 cup of the panko breadcrumbs. We have about a pound and a half of ground beef in this bowl. So that's 1/4 cup of panko breadcrumbs. And then package of ricotta cheese. And we're going to use about a cup of this, if we can get it open. So, okay, go ahead and toss that in there. As well as 2 teaspoons of Italian seasonings, salt and pepper. The salt and pepper is about 1/4 teaspoon for each. I use fresh ground black pepper. It just tastes better. And we're going to want to get this all mixed up. I almost forgot, you're going to want to add half of the garlic and half of the onions into this mixture as well. Once that is all nice and mixed together, we're going to make 24 small meatballs. That's what the recipe says you can make with about 1.5 pounds. So if you're close to that, then good. If you're far off from the number 24, you're going to want to make them smaller. You want them smaller, not large. You're going to want your meatball a little smaller than a golf ball. If you ever have any questions about any of my recipes or the ingredients, go to kidsfoodandcursewords.com, and all of my recipes are posted there, along with all of the instructions and ingredients. Now that we have the meatballs made, we're going to put them in a pan on medium-high heat. So I'm using an induction cooker, so I have it on about 6. I put about a tablespoon of oil in the pan, and we're going to let that heat up to a good temperature, and then we'll place the meatballs in there, and we will stir them frequently, turning them frequently, and they'll cook in there for about 4 minutes. Now we're going to just place the meatballs in the pan. So these are very loose meatballs, and that is perfectly fine. As you're cooking them, parts of it will fall apart, not the whole meatball, but you're going to want to cook them until they're pretty much solid, so about 4 minutes, and then you're going to take them off and you're going to put them on a plate off to the side while you start on the sauce. Once the meatballs are on a plate and set off to the side, you're going to want to take your pan off the heat, drain it, and bring it back over and set it to a medium heat. Now we're going to add the rest of the onions and the rest of the garlic. We're going to cook those for about 3 minutes to about 5 minutes until they're tender. And then we're going to add the tomatoes. While the onions and the garlic are cooking, I'm going to preheat my toaster oven to 350 degrees so that we can put the flatbread in there in a little bit. Once the onions and the garlic have softened, then we're going to go ahead and we're going to add our diced tomatoes as well as some seasoning. A 1/4 teaspoon of salt and a 1/4 teaspoon of pepper. We're going to bring this to a boil, and then we are going to put the meatballs back in. Now that this is boiling, we're going to add the meatballs back into the sauce, and we're going to let that cook for about 10 minutes until the meatballs are fully cooked. Sorry about that, some technical difficulties, but we got the meatballs in the pan with the sauce, and we're going to cook them for about 10 minutes until the meatballs are nicely done. And then once that's done, we're going to take them out and we're going to serve them with some warm flatbread. So right now I have my toaster oven preheating to 350 degrees, and once these are a little bit closer to done, we're going to take the flatbread, we're going to put it into the toaster oven, and we're going to get those just nice and warm, so just a couple of minutes. After a few minutes in the toaster oven, the flatbread was ready to go, and we just took a few meatballs from the pan and we put them on top, and we covered them with tomatoes and the sauce, and I'd have to say I had a taste and it's pretty good. If this video was helpful, please like and subscribe.